very urgent. Your soulmate is about to choose you, or lose you forever. My dear child, this message has found you for a reason. Do not scroll away. Do not dismiss what you are feeling right now. There is a powerful shift taking place in the spiritual realm surrounding your soulmate connection, and the signs have been appearing around you for far longer than you realize. The sleepless nights, the random thoughts of them that arrive without warning, the memories that suddenly flood your heart, and the strange sense that something important is about to happen are not coincidences. They are signals. They are reminders that a decision is approaching, a decision that could change everything. Your soulmate has been standing at a crossroads. For a long time they have tried to silence their feelings. They have attempted to convince themselves that what they feel for you is temporary, that it is easier to walk away than to face the depth of this connection. Yet every path they have explored has led them back to the same place. It has led them back to thoughts of you. They may not admit it openly. They may not speak your name aloud. But their heart remembers what their mind keeps trying to forget. There is a battle happening inside them right now. One voice tells them to move forward and finally choose the love they have been avoiding. Another voice whispers fear, doubt, and uncertainty. This inner conflict has become impossible for them to ignore. The universe is bringing everything to the surface because the season of indecision is coming to an end. Many people watching this message have been asking the same question. Does my soulmate still think about me? The answer is yes. More than you know. There have been moments when they have looked at old messages, old photographs, or memories connected to you. There have been moments when your name appeared unexpectedly in conversation, causing them to pause and reflect. There have been moments when they felt your energy so strongly that they could not focus on anything else. What they are feeling now is different from anything they have experienced before. The emotional walls they spent so much time building are beginning to crack. The excuses that once seemed convincing are losing their power. Deep inside, they know a choice must be made. They can no longer remain in the middle. They can no longer stand between two worlds. They must either move toward you or risk losing the connection forever. Before we continue, if these messages bring you comfort, encouragement, and hope, you can support this channel through the Ko-fi link in the description. Your support helps us continue creating inspirational content for people who need it most. Thank you for being part of this community. My dear child, I need you to understand something important. Your soulmate is not only questioning their future. They are questioning their identity. They are asking themselves difficult questions. What do they truly want? What kind of life do they want to build? Who makes them feel understood? Who makes them feel seen? Every honest answer keeps pointing them back toward you. This is why their behavior may have seemed confusing recently. One day they appear distant. The next day they seem curious. One moment they act as though they have moved on. The next moment they seem unable to stop thinking about the connection. What you are witnessing is not a lack of feeling. It is the final struggle between fear and truth. Fear always tries to convince people that staying comfortable is safer than pursuing something meaningful. Fear tells them that taking a chance could lead to disappointment. Fear tells them that vulnerability is dangerous. But truth has a voice that refuses to disappear. The truth is that your soulmate feels a connection that cannot easily be replaced. Many of you have sensed this already. You have felt their energy returning. You have noticed signs, synchronicities, repeating numbers, and unexpected reminders. You have felt an inner knowing that something is changing. Trust that feeling. It is not random. It is preparing you for what comes next. The coming days and weeks are especially significant. A conversation, a realization, or an unexpected event may force your soulmate to confront what they truly want. The universe has a way of removing distractions when it is time for someone to face the truth. Situations that once seemed stable may suddenly shift. Relationships built on uncertainty may begin to crumble. Old patterns may no longer work. Everything is moving toward clarity. And clarity is exactly what your soulmate can no longer avoid. There is a reason this message feels urgent. Opportunities do not remain open forever. Doors do not stay unlocked forever. Sometimes life presents a moment that demands a choice. That moment is approaching for your soulmate. They know that if they continue delaying, they risk losing something precious. They risk losing the possibility of a future that could have been beautiful. Right now they are remembering things they once overlooked. They are remembering your kindness, your patience, your understanding. They are remembering the way you made them feel safe enough to be themselves. Those memories are becoming impossible to ignore. My dear child, while your soulmate is experiencing this awakening, your role is not to chase. Your role is not to force. Your role is not to control the outcome. Your role is to remain aligned with your own growth and your own peace. The strongest energy you can offer this connection is confidence, self-respect, and trust. Sometimes people believe love requires constant pursuit. In reality, genuine love often requires faith. It requires trusting that what is meant for you will not pass you by. It requires believing that the right person will recognize your value without endless persuasion. If you have been feeling emotionally exhausted, know that you are not alone. Many people watching this have carried the weight of uncertainty for a long time. They have questioned whether the connection is real. They have wondered whether they should give up. Yet something inside them keeps encouraging them to hold on a little longer. That feeling exists for a reason. Your soulmate is beginning to see what they could lose. They are beginning to understand that true connections are rare. In a world filled with temporary distractions, authentic emotional bonds are difficult to find. The more they compare other experiences to what they feel for you, the more they realize that something special exists here. If this message is resonating with your heart, and you would like to help support future content, you can find the Ko-Fi link in the description. Every contribution helps us continue sharing messages of encouragement and hope with this growing community. My dear child, there may still be obstacles ahead. Growth is rarely a straight path. There may be moments of silence. There may be moments when progress feels slower than expected. Do not mistake temporary delays for permanent endings. Some transformations happen quietly before they become visible. Your soulmate is moving through a process of realization. They are learning lessons they needed to learn. They are discovering truths they needed to discover. Most importantly, they are beginning to understand what truly matters. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming they have unlimited time. They assume important conversations can happen later. They assume meaningful opportunities will always be available. They assume the people who care about them will always remain waiting. Eventually, reality reminds them otherwise. This is the lesson your soulmate is facing. For the first time in a long time, they are recognizing the possibility of loss. They are realizing that if they continue avoiding their feelings, they may miss their chance entirely. This realization is creating urgency inside them. It is forcing them to look honestly at what they want. The energy surrounding this connection feels different because a decision is forming. It may not happen overnight. It may not happen exactly when you expect it. But movement is happening. Change is happening. The wheel is turning. Your soulmate is approaching a moment where excuses will no longer feel convincing. They will either move toward the truth or walk away from it completely. Remaining in the middle is becoming impossible. As this process unfolds, continue focusing on your own journey. Continue becoming the strongest version of yourself. Continue creating a life that brings you peace and fulfillment. The healthiest relationships are built when two people choose each other from a place of wholeness rather than fear. The message I have for you today is simple. Your soulmate is standing closer to a decision than ever before. The signs are real. The shift is real. The awakening is real. The question is no longer whether they feel something. The question is what they will do about it. Watch carefully. Listen to your intuition. Stay open to unexpected developments. The next chapter of this story is beginning to unfold, and what happens next may surprise even you. Because your soulmate is reaching the point where they must choose. And very soon, they will. My dear child, the choice your soulmate is facing has become heavier than ever before. What once felt like a distant possibility now stands directly in front of them, demanding an answer. They can feel it. Even if they try to distract themselves, even if they throw themselves into work, responsibilities, or endless routines, the feeling keeps returning. There is something unfinished between the two of you, and the universe is refusing to let it remain buried. For a long time, your soulmate believed they had more time. They believed they could postpone difficult conversations. They believed they could keep their emotions locked away until a more convenient moment arrived. But life has a way of exposing the truth. The comfortable distance they once relied on is no longer providing peace. Instead, it is creating a growing emptiness that follows them everywhere they go. Recently, they have found themselves replaying memories they thought they had already moved beyond. A song, a place, a familiar phrase, or even a random moment during the day suddenly brings you back into their thoughts. They try to push the memory away, but it returns stronger than before. It is not because they are weak. It is because the connection still exists. The heart remembers what the mind attempts to forget. Many people watching this message have sensed this shift already. You may have noticed a change in your dreams. You may have felt a sudden wave of emotion that seemed to come from nowhere. You may have found yourself thinking about your soulmate more frequently despite trying to focus elsewhere. These experiences are not meaningless. They often appear when energetic changes are taking place beneath the surface. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize something that has frightened them for a very long time. They are realizing that losing you is a real possibility. In the past, they assumed you would always remain available. They assumed the connection would simply wait for them forever. But now they are beginning to understand that every opportunity has a season. This realization is creating pressure within them. Part of them wants to reach out immediately. Part of them wants to tell you everything they have been holding inside. Part of them wants to finally stop pretending they do not care. Yet another part still fears rejection. Another part still worries about what might happen if they reveal their true feelings and things do not unfold exactly as they hope. This internal battle has become exhausting. Every day they delay, the conflict grows stronger. Every day they avoid the truth, the emotional weight becomes harder to carry. They are reaching a point where silence is no longer protecting them. Instead, silence is becoming its own form of suffering. My dear child, there is something important you need to understand. The universe often creates turning points when people refuse to make decisions on their own. Situations begin to change unexpectedly. Circumstances shift. Events occur that force people to confront what they have been avoiding. Your soulmate is moving toward one of those turning points now. A conversation may happen unexpectedly. A situation may arise that causes them to reevaluate everything. Someone may say something that opens their eyes. Whatever form it takes, the result will be the same. They will no longer be able to ignore what their heart has been trying to tell them. If these messages encourage you and help you through difficult seasons, you can support this channel through the Ko-Fi link in the description. Your support allows us to continue creating uplifting content for this community and reaching people who need hope and encouragement. My dear child, while your soulmate wrestles with these emotions, you are also being transformed. This journey has not only been about them. It has been about you becoming stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. Every challenge you have faced has been teaching you something valuable about your own worth. There were moments when you questioned yourself. Moments when you wondered whether you were enough. Moments when you wondered whether the connection was real or simply a product of wishful thinking. Yet despite everything, you continued moving forward. That strength matters. Your soulmate may not fully realize it yet, but one of the reasons they are being drawn back toward you is because they sense your growth. They sense that you are not the same person you once were. You have learned lessons. You have developed resilience. You have become more confident in your own value. Growth changes everything. When people remain stuck in old versions of themselves, relationships often repeat the same patterns. But when genuine growth occurs, new possibilities emerge. This is why the current energy feels different. The connection is being viewed through new eyes. Your soulmate is beginning to see qualities they previously overlooked. They are recognizing your loyalty, your patience, your compassion, and your strength. They are remembering how rare those qualities truly are. In a world where many relationships are built on convenience, authenticity stands out. And authenticity is something they can no longer ignore. The next phase of this journey may involve unexpected signs of movement. You may hear from them directly. You may learn information that changes your perspective. You may discover that conversations have been happening behind the scenes that you knew nothing about. Do not be surprised if events begin unfolding more quickly than expected. The energy of delay is weakening. The energy of action is growing stronger. For many months, your soulmate has been standing in a place of uncertainty. They have looked in one direction and seen possibility. They have looked in another direction and seen fear. They have remained trapped between those two realities. But no one can stay in that position forever. Eventually a choice must be made. And that moment is drawing near. My dear child, there are times when people believe that choosing love is simple. In reality, choosing love often requires courage. It requires letting go of pride. It requires admitting mistakes. It requires acknowledging emotions that have been hidden for a very long time. Your soulmate is being called to demonstrate that courage. The question they must answer is not whether they care. Deep down, they already know the answer to that. The real question is whether they are willing to act on what they feel. Action changes everything. A feeling kept hidden remains a secret. A feeling expressed becomes a possibility. This is why the coming season feels so significant. You may also notice that your intuition becomes stronger during this period. Pay attention to the impressions you receive. Pay attention to recurring themes in your dreams and thoughts. While not every sign carries deep meaning, some impressions arrive specifically to prepare you for what is coming. Trust your inner wisdom. Trust the growth you have experienced. Trust the lessons you have learned. And most importantly, trust that your value does not depend on anyone else's decision. This is one of the greatest truths you can carry forward. Whether your soulmate chooses courage or continues running from it, your worth remains unchanged. Whether they reach out tomorrow or months from now, your worth remains unchanged. Whether they finally express their feelings or struggle a little longer, your worth remains unchanged. You are valuable because of who you are, not because of who chooses you. Ironically, this understanding often creates the strongest energy for healthy relationships. When people stop seeking validation from others, they become more attractive, more confident, and more emotionally balanced. Your soulmate is beginning to notice that change in you. They are beginning to recognize a strength that was always there but is now shining more clearly than before. And that realization is affecting them deeply. If you would like to support the continued creation of these messages, you can do so through the Ko-fi link in the description. Every contribution helps us continue sharing encouragement, inspiration, and hope with people around the world. My dear child, the story is not over. In fact, it may be entering its most important chapter. The days ahead carry tremendous potential. The emotional walls your soulmate once depended on are weakening. The certainty they once felt about avoiding this connection is fading. The questions they once ignored are demanding answers. The universe is moving pieces into place. What seemed impossible yesterday may begin to feel possible tomorrow. What seemed distant may suddenly feel close. What seemed silent may soon find its voice. Remain patient. Remain grounded. Remain focused on your own journey. Because while your soulmate is standing before a life-changing choice, you are standing before a transformation of your own. And the stronger you become, the more prepared you will be for whatever unfolds next. Your soulmate can feel the pressure building. They can feel the importance of this moment. They can feel the consequences of waiting too long. Very soon they will have to decide whether they are willing to follow their heart or continue hiding from it. And when that moment arrives, everything could change. My dear child, there is something happening right now that your soulmate cannot fully explain. It follows them into quiet moments. It appears when they least expect it. It interrupts their thoughts during ordinary days and keeps them awake during nights when they desperately want rest. They may try to focus on other things, but the connection continues to surface. The truth is becoming impossible to ignore, and that truth is leading them toward a realization they have been postponing for far too long. For a long time, your soulmate believed that distance would make their feelings disappear. They believed that if they waited long enough, the emotions would fade and life would become simpler. Yet the opposite happened. Instead of weakening, the connection remained. Instead of disappearing, the memories became more meaningful. Instead of finding peace, they found themselves wondering what might have happened if they had been braver. That question has become one of the loudest voices in their heart. What if I made the wrong choice? What if I walked away from something real? What if the person I keep thinking about was meant to be part of my future? These questions are no longer occasional thoughts. They are becoming daily companions. Your soulmate is discovering that some connections leave a permanent mark. No matter how much time passes, no matter how many distractions appear, certain people continue to occupy a sacred place in the heart. You are one of those people. My dear child, there have been moments recently when your soulmate felt your presence so strongly that it startled them. They may have been driving, working, walking through a familiar place, or simply sitting alone when suddenly a memory of you appeared with unusual intensity. For a brief moment, it felt as though the distance between you disappeared completely. These moments are not happening by accident. The universe often brings hidden emotions to the surface before major decisions are made. Feelings that were buried begin demanding attention. Truths that were ignored begin asking to be acknowledged. The soul becomes restless when it knows a crossroads is approaching. And your soulmate is standing at that crossroads now. One path asks them to continue pretending. The other path asks them to be honest. One path feels familiar. The other path feels uncertain. Yet deep inside, they already know which path leads to peace. The challenge is finding the courage to walk it. Many people underestimate how powerful fear can be. Fear convinces people that avoiding a decision is safer than making one. Fear tells them they need more time. Fear whispers that tomorrow will be a better day to act. But eventually tomorrow becomes another tomorrow, and opportunities begin slipping away. Your soulmate is starting to recognize this pattern. They are realizing that waiting has not solved anything. Silence has not healed anything. Avoidance has not brought clarity. Instead, every attempt to escape their feelings has brought them back to the same place. Back to you. Back to the connection. Back to the possibility they have been trying not to consider. If these messages inspire you and encourage you through your journey, you can support this channel through the Ko-Fi link in the description. Your support helps us continue creating content that brings hope, encouragement, and inspiration to people around the world. My dear child, as this realization grows stronger within your soulmate, another shift is taking place. They are beginning to compare what they feel for you with other experiences in their life. This comparison is revealing something important. Connections based on convenience feel easy at first but often lack depth. Connections based on appearances may create excitement but often fade with time. Connections based on temporary circumstances rarely survive challenges. But genuine soul-level connections carry a different energy. They remain present. They endure. They continue calling people back even after months or years have passed. Your soulmate is beginning to understand this difference. What they feel for you has survived distance. It has survived silence. It has survived confusion. It has survived circumstances that might have ended a weaker connection. And because of that, they can no longer dismiss it as a passing emotion. The realization is changing the way they see everything. Suddenly, priorities that once seemed important no longer feel significant. Distractions that once occupied their attention are losing their power. Old excuses sound less convincing than they once did. The truth is becoming impossible to deny. There is something special here. There is something unfinished here. There is something worth fighting for here. My dear child, while your soulmate moves through this awakening, you may notice changes within yourself as well. You may feel periods of unexpected peace. You may experience moments when your intuition feels stronger than usual. You may even find yourself becoming less attached to specific outcomes. This is not a sign that you are giving up. It is a sign that you are growing. Growth often looks like surrendering control. Growth often means trusting that what belongs in your life will find its way to you. Growth often requires releasing fear and embracing faith. The more you embrace this mindset, the more powerful your energy becomes. Your soulmate can sense that change. Even if they cannot explain it logically, they can feel that something about you is different. You are no longer operating from desperation. You are no longer chasing validation. You are no longer defining your worth through someone else's actions. That transformation is significant. People are naturally drawn toward those who know their value. Your soulmate is beginning to see your value more clearly than ever before. And with that realization comes regret. Regret for words left unsaid. Regret for opportunities missed. Regret for moments when fear was allowed to make decisions. Regret for the possibility that they may have hurt someone who genuinely cared about them. These emotions are not easy for them to face. In fact, they may spend considerable time trying to avoid them. But the more they avoid them, the stronger they become. Eventually, every unresolved feeling demands attention. Eventually, every unfinished chapter asks to be completed. Eventually, every important choice must be made. And that moment is approaching faster than your soulmate realizes. My dear child, there may come a time very soon when your soulmate feels compelled to take action. The pressure they have been carrying internally will become too heavy to ignore. The desire for clarity will outweigh the fear of rejection. The need for truth will become stronger than the comfort of silence. When that happens, movement begins. Sometimes it starts with a message. Sometimes it starts with a conversation. Sometimes it begins with an unexpected encounter. The exact form is different for everyone. But the underlying energy remains the same. A decision is made. A risk is taken. A truth is spoken. And everything begins changing. This is why patience remains so important. Many people abandon hope just before circumstances begin shifting. Many people assume nothing is happening because they cannot see movement yet. But some of the most important transformations happen behind the scenes long before they become visible. Seeds grow beneath the soil before anyone sees the first sign of life. The same principle applies here. Your soulmate's heart has been changing quietly. Their perspective has been changing quietly. Their understanding has been changing quietly. Now those invisible changes are preparing to create visible results. If you feel led to support this channel and help us continue sharing messages like this, you can find the Ko-Fi link in the description. Every contribution helps us continue reaching people who need encouragement and hope during challenging seasons. My dear child, as we move deeper into this message, there is one truth I want you to carry with you. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not overlooked. The love you have given, the kindness you have shown, and the strength you have demonstrated have left an impact greater than you realize. Your soulmate remembers more than they admit. They think about more than they reveal. They feel more than they express. And every day, the distance between what they feel and what they say becomes harder to maintain. The heart grows tired of hiding. The soul grows weary of pretending. The truth always seeks expression. That is exactly what is happening now. Your soulmate is approaching a moment where honesty becomes easier than denial. Where courage becomes easier than avoidance. Where action becomes easier than regret. When that moment arrives, the path ahead may look very different from the path behind. The silence may finally break. The uncertainty may begin to fade. The answers you have been waiting for may start appearing. For now, continue trusting your journey. Continue believing in your growth. Continue focusing on becoming the strongest, healthiest, and most authentic version of yourself. Because while your soulmate is preparing to make one of the most important decisions of their life, you are preparing to step into a new chapter of your own. And that chapter is closer than you think. The choice is approaching. The truth is rising. The walls are falling. And very soon, your soulmate will have to decide whether they are ready to embrace the connection they have spent so long trying to resist, or risk losing it forever. My dear child, the energy surrounding your soulmate has reached a point where change can no longer be delayed. What was once hidden beneath layers of fear, confusion, and uncertainty is now pushing its way toward the surface. The signs have been building quietly for months, perhaps even years. Small realizations have been appearing one after another, and now those realizations are beginning to connect like pieces of a puzzle. Your soulmate is finally starting to see a bigger picture, one that includes you far more than they ever expected. There was a time when they believed they could control this connection simply by ignoring it. They thought that if they focused on other people, other goals, or other responsibilities, the feelings would eventually disappear. Yet every attempt to escape only led them back to the same question. Why do they still think about you? Why does your presence continue to linger in their heart long after they tried to move on? Why does the thought of losing you create a feeling they cannot easily explain? The answer is becoming clearer every day. Some connections enter a person's life for a season. Others enter for a reason. But a rare few enter because they are meant to transform something deep within the soul. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that you belong in that final category. This realization has not come easily. It has arrived through challenges, disappointments, missed opportunities, and countless moments of reflection. Every experience has slowly guided them toward the truth they have been resisting. The truth is that what they feel for you is real, and pretending otherwise has become exhausting. Recently, they may have noticed an unusual restlessness. Things that once brought comfort no longer feel satisfying. Distractions that once occupied their attention no longer provide the same escape. Activities that once kept them busy now leave them feeling empty. This is happening because the heart knows when something important is missing. And your soulmate feels that absence. They may not fully understand it yet. They may still struggle to put it into words. But deep down, they know there is a space in their life that has remained unfilled. That awareness is becoming impossible to ignore. My dear child, as your soulmate moves through this awakening, they are also being confronted by memories. Some memories bring joy. Others bring regret. They remember moments when they felt understood. They remember conversations that felt effortless. They remember the comfort of knowing someone truly cared. They remember your kindness during difficult times and your patience during moments when others may have walked away. What surprises them most is how vivid these memories remain. Time has passed. Circumstances have changed. Yet the emotional impact remains strong. That is not something they can easily dismiss. Many people spend years searching for genuine connection and never find it. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that they may have already encountered something meaningful and allowed fear to stand in the way. Fear is a powerful force. It convinces people that protecting themselves is more important than being honest. It convinces people that avoiding risk is safer than pursuing happiness. It convinces people that silence is easier than vulnerability. For a while, your soulmate listened to those fears. Now they are beginning to question them. Because fear has not brought peace. Fear has not brought fulfillment. Fear has not provided answers. Instead, it has left them wondering what might have happened if they had trusted their heart. If these messages bring encouragement to your journey and you would like to support the channel, you can do so through the Ko-Fi link in the description. Your support helps us continue creating uplifting and inspirational content for people who need hope and encouragement. My dear child, one of the most significant shifts taking place right now involves perspective. Your soulmate is starting to see the connection through different eyes. What once seemed complicated now appears meaningful. What once seemed risky now appears valuable. What once seemed uncertain now feels worthy of exploration. This change in perspective is important because it creates movement. Before action comes understanding. Before understanding comes realization. Before realization comes awareness. Your soulmate is moving through all three stages. The awareness arrived first. The realization followed. Now understanding is beginning to take root. Soon, action may follow. This process cannot be rushed, but it also cannot be stopped. Every day brings them closer to a conclusion they can no longer avoid. You matter to them. The connection matters to them. The possibility of a future with you matters to them. These truths are becoming stronger than the fears that once overshadowed them. My dear child, while all of this unfolds, you are being asked to continue trusting your own path. There may still be moments when doubt tries to enter your mind. There may still be days when you question whether anything is happening behind the scenes. Those moments are natural. Do not allow temporary uncertainty to convince you that nothing is changing. Some of the most important developments occur in silence. A seed grows in darkness before it ever reaches the light. A transformation begins internally before it becomes visible externally. The same principle applies here. Your soulmate's heart is changing. Their priorities are changing. Their understanding is changing. And these changes are creating momentum. Momentum eventually leads somewhere. Momentum creates movement. Momentum turns possibilities into realities. This is why the current season feels different from previous ones. The energy is no longer stagnant. The energy is moving. Your soulmate can feel it. You can feel it. Even if neither of you fully understands what comes next, the shift is undeniable. One of the lessons your soulmate is learning involves appreciation. People often fail to recognize the value of something until they imagine life without it. Your soulmate has spent considerable time imagining different futures, different paths, and different possibilities. Yet no matter how many alternatives they consider, one thought continues returning. What if losing you would be the greatest mistake they ever make? That question has become increasingly difficult to ignore. It follows them during quiet moments. It appears unexpectedly throughout the day. It arrives when they are least prepared for it. And every time it appears, the answer becomes a little clearer. The possibility of losing you does not bring relief. It brings discomfort. It brings sadness. It brings a realization they never expected to face. They care more than they admitted. They feel more than they revealed. They value the connection more than they allowed themselves to acknowledge. My dear child, there may soon come a moment when your soulmate recognizes that waiting any longer carries greater risk than taking action. This realization often marks a turning point. It is the moment when fear begins losing its influence. It is the moment when courage starts becoming possible. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means acting despite fear. Your soulmate is moving closer to that understanding. For a long time, they believed courage meant never feeling uncertain. Now they are beginning to understand that courage often involves stepping forward while uncertainty